Hey guys, rolling right back into this video series here. We're going to talk about sheeting up these drawings, putting them on sheets and setting up a sheet in order to be able to present your deliverable to me. So we're going to go ahead and just do everything right in this same drawing. Hopefully this will not overload your all's computers. If it does, I'll show you another way to do this. Probably the more appropriate way to do this. So let's get started. We're going to go to the Layout tab. Whoops, you guys aren't supposed to see this yet. So if you all remember, there is a difference between our model space and our paper space. Paper space is what's defined as the area that you actually are going to plot from. So right now we do all our grading work in model space. We're going to do now some sheet work in paper space. So I have provided, it's my dog in the background if you can hear that. I have provided a title block for you guys to use that is going to be standard with your submissions for the rest of the semester. In order to insert that title block, you guys can find that on Blackboard. I'll upload it later tonight and I'll send an email out. You guys can find that title block on Blackboard. You can insert it with the command insert. It's just a drawing file. So whenever you guys pull that file from Blackboard, you're going to save it to your hard drives or thumb drives or whatever. Then you're going to browse to it in this window and hit open. Then insertion point, just go ahead and unclick that. Make sure it's set to 0, 0. That'd be good. So we have this fancy little title block. We're going to talk about what all needs to go on here. Alright, so go ahead and take a glance through at this title block. I'm going to show you guys how to actually use it really quickly. This title block is just a border that goes around each of your sheets that allows your project to be identified, cleans up your project, and just gives you something organized that you can review for somebody. So this white space in the Layout tab is going to be what is plotted. So if I were to hit Control P and do a print preview, you can see my border is cut off. So we're going to fix all that. So at this point, guys, this is how you set up a sheet to plot from. So right-click your tab, go to Page Setup Manager. We only have one Layout tab, so that's the only tab that shows up here. Go to Modify, and make sure that all these items are set appropriately the way mine is. I'm going to admit that I've already cheated and set all these, so just copy all your styles. One thing that you guys will have is it'll probably be set to layout. Go ahead and change that to window, and then this button will show up. Click that, and it's going to ask you to define a window. I want you guys to snap to the lower left corner of this outside boundary, and then snap to the top right corner. And then after you do that, hit center of the plot. You'll see that there's a little red ring that shows up around everywhere. That's okay. So hit OK. Hit close. Now your white space is perfectly in the background. Let's take a look at some of the items that we have to update on this on this title block. So first I want you guys to, this is M text, so you just need to double click this text, open it up, and type in your name. Actually, I'm sorry, type in your full name. I want you guys to make up a firm name and use it. And the more creative, the more fun I'm going to have grading this. So don't use any, don't do anything that you wouldn't send to, you know, the big guy in charge. But yeah, feel free to get creative with your name. All this stuff is going to be standard. This is to keep track for myself, to keep track of where the PDFs are coming from. You guys will have to fill out these sheets. So the date, whatever you guys actually create these sheets. For me, today is the 17th. So I'm going to do 03 Come on. 03, 17. And then I'm going to have a few sheets. I would like to fill this out later once I have all my sheets cut, but for now I'm going to call that sheet 1. Also, we have 2 windows here. We have a plan view and we have a profile view. If you guys remember in class, and also I believe in our specifications, there it is. Let's review our specs real quick on the deliverables. Conceptual plan detailing the extents of the plaid on a 22 by 34 sheet. Title block has been provided, which I just showed you guys how to insert that. So at a minimum, we're going to include a plan view of the proposed access road, rotated to maximize its view. And we're going to provide a profile view of the proposed access road. Let's see, also a plan view of the pad with some dimensions. Then cross-section baselines. Then we're going to also include a sheet containing the following tables. This is going to be a dedicated sheet just to show what our pad grading is. That was not my belch, that was my dog, I promise. Alright, so after reviewing these, let's get cooking. So this is what's going to come standard. The way I have this sheet set up, you can do a plan view on top and a profile view on the bottom. Given the way we've set this project up, I would not recommend using your profile view. On this sheet, I would recommend using a dedicated profile view for each area. Actually, I'm going to take that back. We're going to zoom in our profile. We're not going to get too advanced on this. I'm going to zoom in these viewports though in order to be able to show the road at probably 50 scale or 100 scale. And similarly to the viewport, we're going to do that as well. So to add a viewport to this, and a viewport is just a window into model space, I'm going to go up here and just add a rectangular viewport. I'm going to turn off my snaps here. I'm just going to add something in. Alrighty. So now in this viewport, you can double click in there, zoom and pan around and do all that stuff. To get out of it, you just double click out of it. What I would like to do is I would like to add sheets at, did I specify what the scale was going to be? No, I did not. So we're going to add sheets at, let's try 50 scale. Yeah, we'll probably have 4 or 5 sheets out of that. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and add our sheets in at 50 scale. What does 100 scale look like? 100 scale is too much. Yeah, let's just do 50 scale. Alright, so one of the criteria is that these plan view sheets have to be rotated to be able to maximize our view, right? Which in other words is going to be left to right because that's the long portion of this route, this sheet. So in order to rotate this sheet out, I'm going to turn off my snaps. I'm going to draw a polyline. This is how you rotate a viewport to match your scale, your drawing scale. I'm going to draw myself a little arrow that is along the same bearing as the way I want my sheet now to be read from left to right. So I'm going to take that arrow, draw it out like that. I'm going to make sure my viewport is unlocked, and I'm going to type in dview. I'm going to select that polyline I just drew and hit enter. Now I'm going to ensure that I select twist down here. You can either select it or type in TW and hit enter. Now I'm just going to rotate my mouse until the arrow reads from left to right fairly flat. All right, then I'm just going to pan it so that it's more or less in the middle. Very good. Now I'm going to draw something for the profile view. So I'm going to add another rectangle. And I'm going to take a look at how many stations I can cover comfortably. It looks like at 50 scale I can probably cover 22 stations. So I'm going to take my profile, zoom into it at 50 scale, same scale as our plan view, and I lost it. So notice how I'm clicking in and out to be able to bounce back and forth. Here we go. So let's see how many stations I can comfortably fit from the profile standpoint. So it seems like I can comfortably fit 22. So just because we haven't talked about sheet work too much, guys, I'm going to go ahead and allow y'all to cut your profile sheets just like this. This is a really unprofessional way to do it, but you're still able to show the information we need. Typically, what you would want to do is you'd want to slice up your profile into individual portions so that you would have like 3 or 4 profiles individually covering station from 10 to 22, from 22 to 34, from 34 to 46, and so forth. Then you would also do a little match line up here and all that stuff. But just for our purposes, I want you guys to zoom in to 50 scale on your profile and just show the same extents of the sheet as you would on the plan view. So I'm going to allow you guys to kind of keep it a little bit messy like this. So this is going to be acceptable for our submission. I'm going to take both of these viewports and I'm going to put them on the layer O sheet viewport. So they shouldn't be red like this. And I am now in this sheet. I'm going to lock them all. I'm going to ensure that they're all locked. And you do that by clicking into each of your viewports, hitting this lock. So at this point, this sheet is cut. I don't know why my screen keeps refreshing. I apologize about that. Let me if I get rid of that. Save real quick. A couple more things we have to do. So we need to fill out the scale on this sheet. So the scale is now at 50. So I'm going to type in 50 there. Also, this scale for this, if you are using the profile grid 1x by 20 scale style, 1x means 1 times vertical exaggeration. So that means that our vertical scale is going to equal our horizontal scale. Ooh, I don't know what I just did there. So 50 and 50. I know it'll say 20 and 20 here. We can actually just shift that, grab our viewport, slide that up to block that out. Maybe in doing that you want to take your viewport and slide it back down to make up for that lost room. Also, we're going to add a little scale bar here. We're going to replace this first item with 50. This second item we're going to replace with double 50, so 100. And what that means is that if I measure the scale bar, this first portion is 1 inch. You'll see, and then the second portion is 2 inches. So just double 50 and you get 100. So this is an accurate scale bar. Let's see. Last thing I need to do, I think, is freeze out my corridor so that I'm not seeing that. All I'm seeing is my grading. And then I also need to rotate my north arrow. I custom made this north arrow block. The block, the actual line type, I got from work. This actual block, though, I added a rotation parameter so that you can grab this little top bar, this little top circle, and you can rotate this block. But how do you know where to rotate it to? So that one's really simple. You can see already when you click into this viewport over here, you have a little little compass showing you what direction that's going to go. Also, your cursor is going to be twisted. So start a polyline, click somewhere, hit F8, and turn off your snaps with F3, and then that's going to draw a line that's perfectly along the north area. So you'll see this line is north bearing, consistent with our little circle here. So to bring that to paper space now, that's in model space. So to bring it to paper space, I'm going to type in CH space, and then I'm going to hit enter inside this viewport, and that's going to magically bring that line to paper space. I'm going to take it by the middle and I'm going to snap it to the middle of this north arrow. I'm going to take that circle and I'm going to snap it to the end point of that line. Hit escape and delete that line out, and now you have a perfectly rotated north arrow. Also, let's freeze out this corridor. I want to freeze out this corridor only from this viewport. So if I were to actually go into here and let's see, and freeze out my corridor from here with this little snowflake, this freezes it out everywhere. So it's frozen in my sheet, but it's also frozen in CAD in my model space. And that's not something I want to do because I still want to be able to update my designs. So I'm going to undo that. And instead, I'm going to click into my viewport, find my corridor layer, which is OC 3D corridor. I'm going to hit this one to the right of the freeze button. This is viewport freeze. So what it'll do is it'll freeze an item out only in your viewport and still keep it in model space. So that's very handy. All right. And at this point, this sheet is set up. I'm going to want you guys as well to add some contour labels to here. If you want to know how to do that, just watch what I'm doing on my other screen. These are for your existing contours. Select the surface. I'm going to hit there, and I am just going to start like a crazy man, just striking lines across here, labeling my contours out. I'm going to keep going. And then I'm going to turn on my line weights. I'm going to do that for my proposed contours. My proposed contours are going to be these dark contours. So you change your style from X index to P index. And it should only draw these contours wherever it crosses one of those dark lines. That was pretty quick. So go ahead and save at this point. So I'm going to name this sheet. I'm going to call this sheet after I save here. I'm going to call this sheet Plan View Plan 1. All right, so this sheet is basically ready to go. Please make sure you fill out your title block information and all that here. So to copy this viewport, to copy this sheet, I'm going to right-click the Layout tab and hit Move or Copy. This is just like you would do it in Excel. I'm going to highlight Move to N and hit Create a Copy and hit OK. I'm going to switch to that tab now. I'm going to change it to Plan 2. All right, so the sheet will be exactly the same. All you need to do now is go into your sheet, double click into your viewport, unlock it, and then pan to your next section. So I'm going to need to rotate my arrow again, my screen again. So I'm going to draw my little arrow. So that's the direction I want my space to be flat. I'm going to type in DView. Let's select that object. I'm going to hit TW for twist, enter. I'm going to rotate this until it's reading left to right. And then I'm going to make sure, make sure I can cover from station 22 to the end. Station 22 is actually all the way over here. So I am going to pan this over just a little bit. And then I'm going to lock my screen, delete this little arrow out. Please don't leave that arrow in your drawing. And we should be good to go. Likewise, on our profile, unlock it, click into there, unlock it, and pan over till I can see the rest of your profile. And lock it. Now, this is odd. This is in a situation where our viewport's kind of cutting off the rest of our labels. All you need to do there is just drag it up a little bit, and you'll be fine. So this is a really short curve. This curve might not even be worth having anymore, but still meets the requirements of the project, so I'm going to keep it. Go ahead and add the labels for the rest of the project. And we need to fix our north arrow, so I'm going to double click into my viewport. I'm going to draw a polyline. My F8 is still on, so I'm just going to draw that there. I'm going to type in change space, click it, enter, and then I'm going to grab it by this midpoint, and I'm going to snap it to the midpoint of this compass, this little north arrow deal. I'm going to snap that rotator to the top, delete it out. So that doesn't look half bad. So at this point we're up to 2 sheets, so this is going to be sheet 2 of the total number of sheets. So going back to our specifications, we have successfully completed item 1, plan view of the proposed access road, rotated to maximize the scale on the road. Item 2, profile view. Next we need to provide the plan view of the pad. I'm sorry, plan view of the pad with labels. So since we're done here, I'm going to save this. I'm hoping to finish this up before my battery runs out. Now I'm going to copy this sheet, move it to the end, and this sheet is going to turn into our pad. So this is going to be our pad sheet. We no longer need a profile view. I'm just going to manipulate what I do have to maximize, make sure it doesn't look too odd. Make use of all this extra space that we have. I'm going to try to make my north go up. I think that'll actually work out well for this project. So I want to make north up on my sheet. So in order to revert back, with your sheet unlocked, with your viewport unlocked, and with you clicking into the viewport, type in plan, enter, enter. Actually, I guess I just needed to hit enter once. So now I'm going to zoom into a scale that works. Doesn't have to be 50, just whatever scale that works. Definitely not 20. It might end up being 50. Who knows? 30 doesn't work. Let's see. 40 still doesn't work. Well, looks like we're going back to 50. All right, so pan over till it's in the middle. Go ahead and lock it. All right, north arrow now is just going to be straight up. Now we're going to add some labels as specified in the criteria. Let's see. So plan view of the road with dimensions, plan view of the pad with dimensions labeled to prove that we hit the mark. So I'm going to click into my viewport here. In the annotate tab, we go to dimensions and add some align dimensions. And I'm going to click from the inside face somewhere on the left. And I'm going to go all the way to the right. And then I'm going to do that again for the inside going perpendicularly. Oops, why did that one disappear? There we go. I'm going to make these labels a little bit bigger just because we have the room, why not? I'm also going to give them a background mask. I'm going to push this label over here. So this proves that we've met the criteria as specified in our document. So we now have a plan view of the pad with dimensions labeled. So that takes care of item 3. This is also going to become page 3. Go ahead and hit save. Now something I want to show you guys, there are some elements in CAD that are set to not plot. Even though we can see them in our paper space, they're not going to plot, such as these yellow lines and these little green diamonds. If I do a print preview, you'll see that those lines are non-existent. All right. One more thing to do, maybe a couple more things to do. We need to create a line and curve table. So I told you guys to make a separate sheet for that. So go ahead and take your pad sheet, make another new copy. No, not a line and curve. Yeah, line and curve tables, as well as a volume table. Got to stop closing out a Bluebeam. All right, I'm going to show you guys, I've shown you guys in the previous video, in the alignment video, how to create line and bearing tables. I'm going to show you guys how to create the table for the volume report. I'm going to let you all struggle with actually getting the volumes there. We will talk about it in class though, so don't worry. I'm just going to show you guys how to make that table. So I'm going to call this one tables. This is going to be sheet 4, and it looks like the last sheet. So this one is going to be of 4, and then I'll have to go through each of these layouts and change that little number sign to 4. And save it. So now I'm going to go to my Insert tab. Nope, I'm going to go to my Annotate tab. Sorry, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add a table through here. This table style, let's just make it Roman S. Alright, so we know that we need 4 columns and 4 rows. 4 columns, 4 data row, 3 data rows, I guess. Right, yeah, pad road overall. So once you do that, you have this table in CAD. Just select that top portion. We'll call this volume table. Grading entity, cut CY. Man, there's a little bit of lag here. This is just like doing it in Excel, same thing. Alright, so that is the table, just like we had it in our document. It's up to you guys to figure out what these numbers actually are and type them in here. I'm going to give you a hint. You're going to do that with volume surfaces. So you're going to right click here, create surface. You're going to change this type to tin volume surface, and then you're going to add your respective surfaces. Your pad is going to be a base of existing ground and a comparison surface of your pad, proposed pad. Your road is going to have a separate volume surface that's going to have a base of the composite surface of the EG and the pad. And your comparison surface is going to be the proposed access road here. Then your overall is going to be just existing ground as your base, and then your comparison is that final grade surface that we made already. And then you can view those volumes by going to Analyze, and once you have all those surfaces created, once you hit this button, they'll show up there. So that's it, guys. That is how you prepare the sheets for this project. One last thing you need to do is submit it. Is to print it and submit it. So to print it, on each tab, hit Control-P. If you did everything correctly on the first setup, this should all be good to go. You should be able to just hit Control-P and OK. I'm actually going to do this on a sheet that actually has some content. Let's do it on this sheet just to make it worth showing. Control P, okay. I'm going to browse to where I saved it. Look at that pretty sheet. So what I would have you guys do is print off all 4 sheets and combine them into one PDF so that you, in one PDF file, you have 4 sheets here. I could show you how to do that, but I'm going to show you how to do it in Bluebeam. And I am almost positive none of you guys have Bluebeam. So just Google it, figure it out on Adobe is what I'm assuming you guys have. There are also computer internet sites that allow you to upload PDF sheets, and it'll spit out a combined PDF. I think Small PDF is one of those sites. So if you need to figure it out, you can investigate that. So that's all it takes to complete this midterm. Good luck, guys.